Welcome to Color Your World. Today I have a lovely guest who certainly colored her own world and many people around her. I've known her a long time, and she really is a lady of wisdom. Please let me introduce to you Gerry Pearle from Marion, Mass. Hello, Gerry.
Hi, Connie.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine today, and it's so exciting to be doing something like this with you. I've done lots of things with you, and they've always been exciting.
Yes. Well, we hit it off from the beginning.
That's true. I know. Yep.
But what I want to talk about, Gerry, is some of the things I find amazing about you and your family. So we'll start off by talking about your family.
Okay.
All right?
All right. Going way back?
Way back.
Because I do genealogy. I don't think you want to go way, way back.
No, not today. but
maybe
that's another show.
Okay. But maybe back to Brockton?
That's back to Brockton.
To Brockton, where I was born.
Yeah.
84 years ago.
My goodness.
84 years ago. And when I was 2, my dad decided, I don't want my little girl to grow up in the city.
Yeah.
And he moved to Marshfield, but he moved to Brant Rock, which was the most wonderful place in the world to be born, to grow up. Right at the water's edge.
Yeah, and you know, Gerry, it still is. It's never changed.
It never changed. But you know, back then, people who lived near the water were poor.
Uh-huh.
And we were poor.
Yeah.
But I never felt poor in my entire life.
Yeah.
Now, you have to be rich to live there.
Yeah.
And I don't think you get the bang out of it
that you did.
I got when I was little. Yeah.
Now, as I remember right, you told me that your father was police chief there?
He was the
chief of police.
Chief, they're making me say it.
Yeah.
He was the chief of police in Marshfield.
Uh-huh.
And I grew up in Marshfield, graduated from Marshfield High School, and last week I attended my 66th class reunion in Hingham.
And I'm trending my 65th this week.
But you know how many were at my class reunion?
Huh?
9.
Oh, God.
Because in Marshfield, only 26 kids graduated.
Well, in Brockton, I graduated with over 500, but I don't think too many are left. But what I want to talk about is your husband, because you went to school with him there.
He was my, from the 7th grade.
Yeah.
He was my boyfriend.
Yeah.
And from the 7th grade, through his going into the Navy, his coming home, his starting a business. We've been married, we will be married 66 years in October, and we have 6 children, 14 grandchildren, and 4 great-grandchildren.
I think that's amazing.
That's an army when you were an only child.
Now, how old were you when you actually got married?
19.
19.
Mm-hmm.
I find that wonderful, and you're a family that really stays together and does a lot together, right?
We do.
Yeah.
This Sunday we celebrated our little granddaughter, great-granddaughter, Aylin's 3rd birthday.
Yeah.
She was actually born today on 9/11. But there were 60 people at her birthday party, and they're all members of our family.
Isn't that wonderful?
It is wonderful, because all these kids aren't in competition with each other, ever. They really like each other. I love listening to the older ones talking to see what they've done with their lives.
Yeah.
And this May, we had 6 grandchildren graduate from college.
Imagine.
Out of one family.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful.
And you have a daughter that has a husband as a chef and runs a restaurant?
I do.
Yeah.
If any of you are in the Acushnet area, the Blue Point restaurant in Acushnet is where my daughter Lisa.
And the daughter's a school teacher.
My daughter Debbie is the reading supervisor in the Marshfield Elementary Schools.
Yeah.
Our oldest daughter Kathleen is works at a college in New Jersey. I shouldn't say works at, she'll kill me. She's the dean of the college in New Jersey. Let me see, that's 3. Our daughter Deirdre has her own financial service building in Boston. And our son Matthew has his own building business. He does custom building. And
well, I think, you know, because of the things you've done, and it's hard to touch on them because there have been so many, but I remember when you said you were in antiques.
I was in antiques
A long time, right?
a long time.
What
Yep.
was the name of your business?
Our business was called the Purple Pigeon Studio. I did interior decorating first,
Yeah.
and then I started teaching early American decoration and design.
Uh-huh.
We lived in a house that was built in 1747 in Marshfield, and I taught art in our own house.
Uh-huh.
So every week people would come and they'd look around and they'd say, "Oh, I love that," or "I love that," and I had everything in my house was old but me. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now
so
it's changed.
well, it's changed now, but back then they'd say to me, "Oh, do you think you ever could find me something like this?"
Yeah.
And this is how I got everything I own. I'd say to myself, I know I can find another one of those.
Yeah.
And then we started going on trips to Maine and then into Canada, bringing home really beautiful old primitive stuff.
Uh-huh.
And instead of buying one, I'd buy two
Yeah.
if they were available, and sometimes three. That would give me the opportunity to sell the extras and have mine for free.
Yeah.
So
So
that's how
many
I
years-
operated.
How many years did you do that?
Oh, over 35 years we had our shop,
Yeah.
first in Marshfield and then in Wareham.
Yeah. Well, I know that when I first met you and you lived in Wareham and I visited your home,
Mm-hmm.
I went into your house and it was like going back into the 1800s or the 1700s. I see this big old fireplace and a table, an old table. I couldn't see a refrigerator. I couldn't see a stove, you know, except there. And I'm thinking, how does this lady cook? But your husband, who's a carpenter,
Uh-huh.
built things, and he built them in the wall, and when she had to use them, it turned
That's
them
true.
around,
Yeah.
and it was very up to date.
Right.
It
Well, when
took-
you have 6 kids, you try to think of a way to hide the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, okay.
Right.
That's a good idea.
You do that. Well, our house in Wareham was truly the most wonderful house anyone could live in.
It was lovely.
It was
you had-
built in 1683.
Yeah.
That's as old as it gets, because that was when the settlers from Plymouth were actually safe enough to come out of Plymouth Colony and to relocate somewhere else.
Yeah.
And they relocated in this great old house in Wareham. In fact, in 1983, Country Living did a big 5-page story
I
on
think
our
that's
house.
great. But you
Yeah.
know what I liked most about your house that time? Because of your Indian heritage, too.
Oh,
that
yes.
when we had the Indian circle,
Oh, yeah.
what did you call it? The medicine
The
wheel.
medicine wheel. Come dance in my wheel.
Yeah.
Changes your life forever.
Wasn't it nice?
You realize what's truly important.
Yeah.
Nature, keeping your kids close to nature, it keeps them soft
Yeah.
and happy
Yeah.
and in love with life.
We know it's a hard thing today for a lot of people to be close to nature because of where they live.
Well, that's
A lot of
true,
children
too.
never see or get a chance to see
That's
the
right.
things that we enjoyed as a
Mhm.
child, you know, and
Yeah,
that you still enjoy. But
I know.
the
Take
inner
my-
city children
Oh, I
wouldn't
know.
know anything about that, and they're very lucky if they get a chance to
That's
broaden
very
their
true.
spheres to do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that kids who can go to the beach or can walk through the woods, who learn about Indian pipes and the Indian soap
Yeah.
plant, and seasonally wait for exciting things to happen,
Yeah.
are the luckiest kids in the world.
Well, I think the nicest thing that ever happened to me with you
Mm-hmm.
was when you invited me down one day and we were going to go heather picking. And
Oh my.
what happened was something that had never happened to me before. And you and I were walking along, which beach was that?
That was on, that was in the Wareham Beach, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, going to Little Harbor.
yeah,
Little
and
Harbor's a barrier beach.
yeah, and we're walking along, and you're in front of me,
Mm-hmm.
and we're picking up heather, and all of a sudden, for I don't know how many seconds, I was in another time zone. I was not there. And I saw and experienced myself as a little girl, and you as a little girl, with pinafores and high buckle shoes. And I don't know when I came out of it, but when I did, I said, Gerry, we walked here together in another life.
Mm-hmm.
That had never happened to me before.
Oh, truly.
And then I could see why we got along so well.
Mhm. We were sisters, and you didn't know it, right?
No, I didn't know of sisters, but whatever.
Yeah.
I had never gone on another time zone.
Oh.
I've had psychic happenings,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but never had that happen ever in my life.
Wow.
So for me,
It was
I do believe
special.
in reincarnation because I experienced it.
Well, I believe in it too. I remember another time at Little Harbor Beach when you came with me. You know, I always go oystering and clamming
Oh,
and
don't tell me
cohogging.
about that oystering day.
Well, you said you loved little necks,
Yeah.
and you could eat them raw like I did, so we went to the canal,
Yeah,
and I had my rake,
yeah,
and you had to get a whole bunch of little cohogs,
yeah.
but you got more than you bargained for.
Yeah, because what happened was there were these tiny little
The mites, the sand
mites that you didn't see and got bit on our legs.
Mhm.
And it was so sore. It lasted a while and
Mhm.
hot, you know.
Mhm.
Didn't the lady go to the hospital?
Yes,
Yeah, at that
but
time.
see, I'm part Indian, so I never get them.
That's right.
When you do Indian time, you're lucky.
But anyways, it was nice, and we had shared so much there with some of our friends.
We did. We had wonderful times.
Yeah,
That's when you could have a fire on the beach. Well, what we'd do is get our fire going,
yeah.
do our digging,
Mm-hmm.
throw everything in the pot,
Yeah,
and then go for a swim.
isn't that
And when you
great?
come back, there's your dinner.
Yeah,
With no dishes,
yeah.
just a perfect
We
way to
used
live.
to do that actually in Duxbury. Once you could light a fire on
Yeah.
Duxbury Beach,
Mhm.
but not today.
No, aren't we lucky we're so old?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you, in reference to today, that we had liberties that children can never enjoy again.
That's true.
We had the freedom to roam around because there weren't transients.
Mhm.
We had the freedom to play all day in the fields
That's
because
right,
there
too.
were fields.
Yeah.
And I know in the hurricane of 38, everybody was in a turmoil, but us kids were making forts in the trees that fell,
Oh, I know.
you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. See, that's the connection with nature.
Yeah. So tell me how you got into genealogy.
Oh dear. Well, I've always been interested in my family, of course, and don't you feel as though your life goes in cycles? You're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing the other thing.
Oh, I say that we have many chapters in our life and many
Chapters.
faces.
Yep, that's true. And I think that most people really should do genealogy, because stories are wonderful, but true stories and stories of your own family
Yeah,
are so exciting. And you find so many things doing genealogy that you never knew about your family.
yeah,
You know, sometimes you might have been angry, thinking, why did an aunt act like that?
yeah,
Or why did my mother sometimes react the way she does? Social and economic conditions going on in a country dictate what's happening,
yeah,
even in a little family. And when you do genealogy, you start to realize the problems or the real heartaches that so many people have had in their lifetime.
oh, sure.
And then you begin to understand, and then you begin to feel almost sorry, and then you begin to truly love somebody.
Yeah.
So genealogy,
Yeah,
I
well,
think, is neat for
The only
everyone.
experience I had that way is I had an aunt, and she used to say to me, you know, my maiden name was Kasiri. She says, the Kasiri name dated back to the days of the Romans.
Aha.
And so I never thought much about it. And when my mother died, somebody asked me for the book that had our genealogy in it.
Oh.
Well, it was a book all in Italian that I didn't understand, and someone either took it or I
Oh.
gave it away. But it had the records from Italy in our family in a hardcover.
Oh.
And I had let it slip by my fingers because my mother never told me about it,
Oh.
and I didn't realize its value.
Well, maybe somebody seeing this program,
You never know.
you never know what's
No.
going to happen. You
Yeah.
truly don't.
Yeah,
I remember my father used to come to Bryantville
yeah,
when I was a little tiny kid to go hunting.
yeah,
And he went with a family whose name was Dunn. Benji Dunn, that's all I can remember.
D-U-N-N?
Yeah, Benji Dunn. He was a little boy, about the same age as I am, so he'd be in his 80s now, were he alive. But his grandfather's name was Adai Dunn, and the father and the mother were best friends with my father and mother.
Oh, for
Now here we are in Bryanville, or in Pembroke. Maybe Benji Dunn is still alive. Maybe he might ever see this, and if he does, I'd love him to get in touch with me.
Well, you live in Marion, right?
Yeah, Marion.
And your name is Gerry Pearle.
And it was Valier. Valier.
Oh, Valier was your maiden name.
Maiden name.
That's the French.
That's the French name.
The French and the Indian.
Yeah.
And Paul is
Irish.
Irish all the way.
Irish. His mother was born in Ireland. Yeah. So.
And what I want to say about your husband, because he's a truly remarkable man.
Oh.
And I know when
amazing.
He was in charge of restoring the Toby Memorial
Toby Homestead.
What lovely work he did and managed and took charge of all those men to restore a building that they tried to tear and burn down.
Well, you know, Paul is probably, I think, the only person in the state of Massachusetts to be recognized by Secretary of State Galvin and the Massachusetts Historical Commission for doing 2 exceptional restorations.
Yeah.
He did one at the Wigwam, a little spiritualist summer camp, and he did the Toby Homestead. And in the state of Massachusetts, 10 preservation programs are brought forth each year. Just 10 out of, there might be 100 that are going on in Massachusetts, but out of those 100, they choose 10.
Yeah.
And for Paul to have been chosen twice
Isn't that
for
wonderful?
the best restoration in the state of Massachusetts,
I know.
He's done
well, I
all
know
kinds
that
of
the day I
restoration.
spoke there, I was so amazed at the wigwam and the center pole that was the prayer pole.
Right.
And it wasn't like speaking in an auditorium because people were in a round, but we managed.
Oh yeah, well that's the way the Indians did everything, in a circle.
Yeah.
That way everybody is equal.
Yeah.
You see, the women didn't sit behind they all sat around.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they believe that everything is round. The earth is round, the birds built their nests in a round way. So.
I'm getting round.
So am I. Hey, the alternative isn't so hot, is it? I'd rather be round than.
Well, it's true. And you in the drumming, when you do the drumming, the drum is round.
Oh no, right?
Isn't it?
Yep. Yeah. Well, when you came to our medicine wheel gathering, that was wonderful too.
Yeah.
Always the full moon of August.
Yeah.
And people come, take the talking stick, and sit in that big circle and give their prayers, their hopes, for not just their own family, for the world.
For everybody.
Because it all comes together, doesn't it?
All comes together as one.
Yep.
And how nice that on October 21st, I can't remember her whole name, the first Indian is going to be canonized as a saint.
Right.
Kateri something. I don't know the name.
Kateri's close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
And they have a little church down in Plymouth with her name and in her honor. So wonderful. I think it's wonderful that finally the natives have been recognized by the Catholic Church, because many of them did convert and went to mission schools, which probably might not have been the best thing because it took them away from their own culture. But I know a lot of people are very excited about that.
I know they are. I know some people who went to some of those schools.
Yeah.
That taught them how to comb their hair and dress in certain clothes.
Yeah.
But didn't teach them anything in their hearts.
Yeah, yeah. So what I know that when I think of you, I know you went to the Cape Cod Community College. You studied handwriting.
Handwriting analysis.
Yes.
But I did that because I was doing genealogy.
Yeah.
And there were probably 20 people in my class. And the instructor went around the room and he said, now why did you take this class? And why did you take this class? And everybody except for me, took the class because they wanted to work in the courts.
Yeah.
This is the up-and-coming thing,
Yeah.
and you make a lot of money. And when he came to me, he said, "Why did you take the course?" And I said, "Because I want to analyze the handwriting of my ancestors." He said, "You want to look at the ancestors, the handwriting of somebody who died?" And I said, yeah. If you didn't know that great-grandmother, but you had her signature on a deed,
You could tell.
what an exciting thing to do.
Yeah.
To look at that, take the tools that we learned about handwriting,
Yeah.
and it tells their personality and
everything.
so many things about them. Yeah, that was fun.
And then you took him harmonica.
Well, I have 14 grandchildren, and I
Yeah.
have taken every one of them to the woods all their lives. We
Yeah.
go to the woods, we learn everything. So I thought, I've got just 3 little ones left. All the other ones are big and they're grown up. And I thought, I'm going to take this course because it was called Music in Your Pocket.
Uh-huh.
So I thought, I'm not going to tell them, but I'm going to have the most wonderful fun going up the hill, because they always run ahead of me, and the
Uh-huh.
dogs come too, and I'm going to be able to pull my harmonica out of my pocket and say to them, "Let's sing Old MacDonald Had a Farm," because we always sang that going up the hill.
Yeah.
And so they'd start to sing, and I whip out my harmonica and play Old MacDonald Had a Farm. And I did do that, and that was the best fun out of any course I ever got. That was the best fun.
I love harmonica. And you know, the Beatles had that in their original music before the synthesizers. They always played
Oh,
harmonica.
yeah, yeah.
And I had an uncle who was a one-man band. You know, you put the harmonica around you, then you
Yep.
play the guitar, and your feet do the drum.
Yeah. Wonderful, huh? Music is so important too.
Oh, it
Makes
is.
you
It was in
happy,
my
happy.
family. Yeah. And my grandfather was named after Jesus, or Jesus, because he was born Christmas.
Oh,
And all the neighbors would come over. They played piano, they played bingo.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And my uncle played, but we grew up with music. It just
Sure.
was, and they didn't take it lessons.
No,
These people learned that my mother learned by ear,
yep.
and she could play anything.
Mhm.
I wasn't that good.
No.
No.
Well, I can't sing, but I played the saxophone.
Did you?
Flat alto saxophone, and my husband played the trumpet, and
Is he
Yeah.
still trumpeting?
still trumpeting. But you know what? We had 6 kids, and every one of them played a different instrument.
Oh.
And I think I was the only mother in the world who said, "Oh, please, God, don't let them want to practice tonight." Because the noise, I think the neighbors were so glad when they stopped playing their instruments.
I always remember the ad about the little boy banging on the drums, and his mother would say, "Stop, don't."
Yeah.
But in the end, she was saying, "Don't stop," because
Yeah.
he got famous.
Oh, that's great.
You know, playing those little drums
Yeah,
and going
yeah.
on like that.
That's nice.
But through patience and allowing our children to express themselves,
oh, it
that's a
pays off.
wonderful thing, and I think you've done that with your
Mhm.
family
Well, I think they're
and your
interesting.
grandchildren.
Yeah, they're interesting, and I like them as well. As you have to love your kids, but sometimes it's hard to like people you love. But I like all of them, truly and truly. I'm not saying
Yeah.
this to be a
Well, they go through changes, you know, we
Yeah.
go through changes.
yeah.
And sometimes we have an idea, or they have an idea that doesn't materialize. And for a while, it causes an abrasion.
Mhm.
But over the years, time heals
Yeah.
everything.
It does.
Time heals everything.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
I just think that's nice when you're a parent and you have that patience and foresight to see that
Yeah.
everything isn't right here today.
Mhm.
What's going on today, you know, it's like the volunteers here. They're working, doing their thing, and probably, maybe not even thinking how much impact it puts in their life.
Yep.
But it's forming them as an individual. It's broadening their spheres,
Mhm.
and
Well, you learn something from everyone you meet,
that's
don't
true.
you? From everyone.
That's true.
It's exciting. I just wish that I could meet as many people as possible,
Yeah.
because I think that there's somebody out there that I really, really would love to meet.
Well, I don't feel that way. I love
Okay.
people, but there's some I really just don't stay away from.
Mhm. Well, yeah, I'm not a
Um,
goody-goody,
I
know.
try to have the philosophy.
Mhm.
I say to myself when I sit and have my conversations in the morning with myself and my divine spirit, that I draw the people that are right for me.
Good. Well, you need to. Don't you think that you love a lot of people, and some of them are difficult to love, and I'm not talking about family, I mean even friends, and they might be difficult to love. And you try to bring them up or to make them happy, to make them realize that money's not the measure of a man.
Uh-huh.
Being happy is with good kind of people. And after a while, if you don't bring them up,
Yeah.
you walk away because it brings you down.
It does. And the thing is, I can remember going to karate years ago. And can't help it, this girl was always doing something on the physical side. And I found that if I stood near the best people, the strongest people, I did better.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
And
you're
I
competing.
always positioned myself in that respect. It gave me energy and things like that.
Yeah.
And I don't think that we have a lot of differences, people, when we don't get along with them. I just think we're on a different wavelength.
Mm-hmm. That's a very kind thought.
We all think from a different note, if I can put it that way. We live
That's
on
true.
different notes in our chakra,
Right.
and we're on a different level.
Yep.
And it's nice to be with the people on your level, and I think it's nice to respect those that have a lot of knowledge. But I don't like to hear that someone says, I want to be like this person,
Mm-hmm.
because they're taken away from themselves because they have their own special gifts.
Yes,
It's nice to honor people,
that's very
but
nice,
it's nice
Connie.
to be able to
Yep.
express yourself and allow your creative self develop in its own way, in its own time,
Yeah.
and not be forced, because it'll come
It will.
if you let it, you know. And I think that when I got 50, after my children bringing them up, that's when I had chance to do that, because I was so busy.
Right.
I got into pottery, I got into art,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying, and
Yeah, I
different
do.
things. And accidentally got into doing this,
Mm-hmm.
and I can remember my son calling me motor mouth, and well, that's my gift. My gift was, you know, he called me M&M. Oh, Gerry, we've been talking a long time here,
We have
and I've loved every minute of it, and we're down to 1 minute.
1 minute.
And
Well, 1 minute of wisdom. Go.
yes, so let's toast to wisdom.
To wisdom.
Knowledge is knowledge. We learn that in school.
Yep.
Wisdom we get through living.
That's true. And you know
And I
what?
toast to you, my lady of wisdom.
Thank you, Connie.
And
That's
maybe be
good.
friends for a long time.
We will, because you know what? The people you really love are the people you laughed with.
We
Right?
do a lot of that.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And now you can get ready to have your long journey home.
Oh, God. Oh, I shouldn't.